Justice League No Justice #3. Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and James Tynion the fourth writing. Riley Rosmo and Marcus Toe on the art. Hold it in, Connor. I'll give you your floor in a minute.
I was gonna say let Connor let out a primal scream so he feels better.
Remember how last week when Connor was complaining that Manipul wasn't the only artist?
So I woke up Wednesday morning. This is the first thing that I read, and immediately when I saw Manipul not on the cover, messaged Connor going, "Hey buddy,
I never noticed on the cover. I just started reading it, and it was like maybe just towards the bottom of the first page where I sort of clicked and went, wait a minute, this art looks really different.
Do you know what the thing is though? Matt told me that, and then I put off reading it. This stopped being the thing that I was going to read first, and then became like fourth.
But no, I read this first. It's the big event. This is, we know me. I love continuity. I love big stories. So the art, though, I'm just going to get it out of the way because this is my biggest problem with the book. Rossimo's art style does not match this book.
It doesn't.
It's ugly. Yeah. Rosmo is fantastic in shadowy things, but dark, gritty, grimy. Here, the big cosmic, colourful stuff, it's atrocious.
I think it's hit and miss. I think it's finding certain characters. I think Martian Manhunter on the first page, I couldn't tell it was him until he was called Marty. Like I wasn't sure who it was, and then. I think I think like this the following page, like Batman's like sort of more cartoony face kind of works. It doesn't necessarily fit the style of the book, but it looks fine. I think as an image on its own.
But this thing, I think it's quite an ugly Batman, and I think this is the problem of when Rosmo's doing a Batman book and it's in shadow. Batman looks great. This just wasn't working.
Hold on, right? So I think the Batman looks fine for the most part. Like I think there's certain characters who look fine. For me, where it really shits the bed is when we get to Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Oh, God, yeah. That's awful.
Wonder Woman looks absolutely atrocious in this book. And
Lex Luthor looks terrible as well. On that second page.
Zatanna looks terrible.
Yeah, but it's almost like it gets worse as it goes on. Once you get to the middle of the book... and it's funny because obviously the Earth parts are still Marcus Toe, but eventually Marcus Toe just takes over the main parts as well. It's almost like it was getting worse and worse, and then he taps out, and Marcus Toe comes in and finishes the rest of the book.
Yeah, but look at that page with Brainiac. That's the double page, like with the shadows.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, that's
it. Looks
that side of it's all right. Yeah,
that's his best page. I think his Beast Boy looks okay as well, honestly.
But yeah, it makes me wonder because at least in the last issue we had that split between Toe and Manipul. Here, there's no clear split.
And Manipul did say in a stream this week that issue 4's all him. So
yeah,
I was debating with Matt earlier in the week about how the fill-in artists are killing my enthusiasm for books. And Matt was saying, hey, the story comes first to him, and that's but it's I finally got an analogy that I can liken it to.
Yeah,
it's like in a movie, it's where they change the actors for the characters like 3 or 4 times over the course of a movie for no reason. Like sometimes you can allow it. Like okay, there's a flashback, so you get a different actor, right? If it's for a different age, and so that in the equivalent here is okay. So there's a different artist for the flashback. Well, to me that was still a little disappointing, but at least I can understand the split. Or here it was the different locations. Whereas now it's just like, okay, different artist is like just changing the actors. Yeah, the story's still there, but it's really distracting. And it kind of takes you out of it.
I can get over it, but I will admit the art in this issue is a bit of a hodgepodge.
It's jarring, and it did make me like it, not as much as I have the previous two.
Yeah.
It's something I feel is going to like ruin the trade later. When I go and read this as a trade, like as 4 issues.
But that's the thing. As much as I enjoy the story, I don't feel like this is just the table setter. And I feel like, I might read this 15 years from now, but this is not a story I'm going to hold near and dear like some of the other ones. Like, I like to go back and read. So,
I think notably, most of the stories that you have at that have just one artist, right?
Yeah. No, they do. If this was Manipul, maybe I would. But even then, I am enjoying this story a lot. I just feel like this is the prologue to whatever Snyder's going to do.
It is, yeah.
But there are some really cool moments in this. Plus Starbro takes center stage. Like,
Yeah.
I love his
Yeah.
dialogue with Martian Manhunter.
No, his stuff's great, and then he's like, "Hey, Atom, make me big, enlarge me," and then he flies up and tries to take on the Omega Titan. He tries to take him over, and he's like he face huggers him basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Star Wars style, and then a poor Star Wars gets ripped in half, and he's dead.
Yeah, bad news for him.
He's gone.
I'm gutted that we've lost Starbro because
Me too.
one of the best parts of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And
That said, though, that's how Starro goes. I'm sure there'll be more.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're not seeing the last of
Also,
Starro, but
If biology of space starfish is the same as Earth starfish, as
we'll
long
get
as there's
to.
a piece of the center, it'll grow a whole other one.
Yeah.
They can clone. So
which hell, I wouldn't even surprise me if that's a big moment in the 4th issue where like multiple Star Wars come in to help.
I'd love that.
But
yeah, so the gist
I
of
also
the
go ahead.
I was just gonna say the gist of the issue then is that they have to light up the other trees, but dampen the Wisdom one because the Wisdom one is the one that's dominant on the planet. So Cyborg siphons out the data banks or the data core from the Wisdom tree. Wonder Woman uses her lasso to free the spirits, the spirit priests of the Wonder Tree, and the other trees are kind of working. While Sinestro with his ring. With Starro calming the minds of everyone in the planets, including Tamaran. That was one of the planets in the balls. That's Starfire's planet. They basically take all those planets into space so they can all regrow and be back.
Here's the thing that my with the mystery, I feel like it's kind of amorphous because I get that Entropy's in the prison, and I get that the wisdom, right, is coming out of the databanks, and the wonder's coming out of the magic, and how dead that one is because it is Kalu. This mystery one, just I don't feel it has that mystery of the planets. Like, I understand that's probably gonna be the central story.
I think it was the idea of the mystery of what's in there, and when they say when they release it, it's the mystery of all these lives that are now there to impact the universe, and what will they do?
Right, but if the mystery. If what grew the tree was the mystery of what's in there, when you let it all go, doesn't that ruin the mystery and now that weakened your tree? Like, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot there.
Maybe.
Yeah. And if that's the intent, because that's how they end up kind of failing Kolu, however we're pronouncing it.
No, I don't think so. I think it's because once it's revealed, everyone starts to think about it, therefore the mystery is strengthened.
People are going, oh, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to avoid using the word wonder because the other one's wonder.
Yeah, because of the wonder.
Yeah, but it works here.
Because jumping to the end, Kalu ends up getting destroyed by the Omega Titan. I mean, they managed to get people off.
They evacuate it, but...
these big arc ships and
Kalu's gone. Can I just interject here, just to add back to the art? Cyborg also looks really rough. I'm just on one of his pages.
And Harley Quinn as well.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Wonder Woman is the bottom of the barrel.
Do you know what really gets me? Is on the double page spread where Cyborg's taking in the info. Flash, the bolts managed to be uneven.
You're right.
Yeah,
that's
I just
rough.
feel like Rosmo has a style, and the style, it might not be everyone's style, but it works. Like Batman Shadow, it worked. And I'm trying to think of other.
The first
I've seen.
2 of the issues of Night of the Monster Men that he did were fine.
Yeah.
The problem is, when we're saying, that panel near the start with Brainiac in the shadow is great. So what we're saying is his work's fantastic when you can only see about a third of it.
No. That's not. I don't think that's fair. What we're saying is that when he's working in his style and the whole thing is designed to work with his art, it functions.
Yeah, because he has a very cartoony manga-esque, like it's big and blocky, and that's almost the opposite.
Honestly, just to add on to this, I think on top of that, this is just rushed. I don't think this is Riley Rosmo at his best. I don't think it's just that he doesn't fit. I think some of this is just we're struggling on time. You just need to shit it out and get it out there. Yeah. And some of the pages feel like that. It's after that double page spread though with the Flash's crooked thingies that we switch completely to toe because
suddenly it's bearable.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I would say it's good. It's not even
No,
just
it
bearable. It's a solid art after this. It's
I
obviously it's
like the
annoying that it's
way
changed,
that Toe
but
draws Starfire.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a really nice Starfire.
It is because it's just she doesn't have her pupils and just it's very
The colours really
magnificent.
pop, doesn't it? With the
Yeah.
orange and the purple.
I'll tell you what panel I like when they're fighting the Omega Titan, because obviously at this point they've all kind of converged instead of except for the ones who are evacuating, and all the big heavy hitters are fighting the Titan. I love the panel of Martian Manhunter between the teeth, holding the mouth open
Hold
slightly.
them
Yeah.
It's very Superman. Like that could have been Superman or it could have been Manhunter, but I'm glad it was Manhunter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite panels is the second page that he takes over, and right at the top you just have the Omega Titan.
That's right.
Yeah,
It looks pretty great.
he's a good artist. Toe's great. I wish Toe did the whole issue. If we weren't going to get Manipul, I wish it was just Toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Starfire, the Starfire, sorry, Starro, to mix up my stars.
Wrong ones.
Starro's like, hey, ship me with a thing and make me big. And he's like, okay. And then Starro, as he flies off towards the Mega Titan, it will do this. Blah ha 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 ha. Do you feel me now, Titan? Do you feel the might of Starro the Conqueror? I love it.
Yeah. He's like, I've
And then-
conquered worlds upon worlds. Your puny mind is no match for mine.
Until
so
he
good.
gets ripped in half.
Until he gets
Yeah.
ripped in half. He gets ripped in half like Superman ripping open his shirt.
Yep. Even with the rip sound effect, like it's rough.
That is
Yeah,
really rough.
the Mega Titans are playing for keeps, and then we flash back to Earth, and I always love when Green Arrow can just launch an arrow straight into a gun barrel.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's good stuff.
that's a 1 in a million shot.
Because Waller's ready to like be bombed. He's like, oh, we need to just bomb this site regardless of us being here. He's like, no, we're not killing us and all the other heroes. Come on now. But of course, as soon as Cola gets destroyed, all the seeds on Earth, because there's 4 of them. There's not just the one at the Fortress. There's one at Star Labs, one at Belle Reve, and one at Tower of Fate. And they all spawn. And it's like, by the way, the Titans aren't coming. They're already here. So we get this final page with the 3 other Titans arriving. This does make me question, though, that ending scene from the DC Nation.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't line up with us at all. We're Supergirl. This is a completely different context.
Do you know what it reminds me of? To go back a few years now. Do you remember when we got the Zero issues in New 52?
Yes.
And I'm specifically talking about Snyder's Batman.
Yep.
He did a Zero issue about the Red Hood stuff, and it was supposed to like lead into. When we got to Zero Year, it was completely different to what he'd shown in that, and it was more supposed to be a thematic idea to show rather than a literal prologue.
And I feel that's what this was in the DC Nation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's kind of weird though to have a character there who isn't now. Like it's one thing for it not to match up exactly, but
I think the next issue could start with Supergirl, but the Green Arrow thing doesn't, unless they teleport it out via whatever.
because at this point,
you know?
I mean, Supergirl should be free because she wasn't with any of the leagues that were fighting Brainiac because they were the ones who were all taken. But I don't know. We'll see if she pops up in the next issue.
Tubes last issue, was she?
No.
Didn't see her.
No, they didn't see her. No.
But I do like all these trees sprouting up at the different places, and it's synonymous, not synonymous.
Yeah.
It's similar to where they were on Kalu, which is nice.
Yeah.
The one that Green Arrow and Waller, that's Mystery, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mystery's
So you got-
Krypton because that's got all the relics of the other worlds and stuff
Yep.
and
Yeah.
whatnot.
So you've got
Bates Wonder, Belle Reeves Entropy, and
Yeah.
Star Labs is Wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, it all makes sense. It makes sense that these are the equivalents. So no, I mean, I dig that they're all racing back home now to try and save Earth because shit, the trees have all spawned. My only concern is how do we wrap this up in an issue? And I know it won't be completely wrapped up because we're building it in No Justice, or Justice League rather. But New Justice even is what we're calling that whole line. But I don't know. I'm just curious how this is all going to wrap up in one issue.
I feel whatever happens, they're going to stave off the Omega Titans, and then Earth they'll always have that threat, unless we keep things balanced.
So
then they'll be back.
Yeah, that'll be the way to beat them, probably, is to keep it balanced between the 4 trees. I wonder, are we pretty sure that all these planets getting released is kind of what the focus of Odyssey is going to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's why they have Darkseid there, right? Like, he'd be familiar. He's from the Source Wall, right? He's spent time there. So,
Well, he's got amnesia, but yeah, other than that.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have amnesia, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have to assume he remembers something if they're bringing him for questioning, right?
Right.
Like for information.
That's it.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
there's no
that's
point.
The cover for issue 2 is seemingly they're all fighting Darkseid, so we'll see how the actual team
How
membership.
long that lasts.
I
Works
won't
out,
mind
but-
a nerfed version of Darkseid, just because you have some of that there.
I do wonder if it's interesting, instead of if they're going looking at all those planets, if they're almost patrolling the source wall, going, all right, okay, nothing else can come through.
I wonder, like, what would fascinate me about the whole Darkseid thing is if he has amnesia the entire time he's with them until eventually the run ends or whatever, or if he eventually leaves somewhere in the middle. I like the idea that he'll remember all his time with them. He'll get all his memories back from before, but he'll still remember being with them and not knowing and working with them. And the idea that it has some sort of like small effect on him, like there's like a hint of compassion just in there now, because he actually worked with the heroes for a time, without all the baggage of all his evil villainy and everything he always thinks about.
Yeah. Well, I always like the idea that he's just a conqueror because he's trying to get the anti-life. Like anything else after that, like what's he going to do after he uses the anti-life equation? Just sit and rule? That's not Darkseid's.
I think he goes to the beach and reads a book.
But no, and then we have to think that Justice League Dark's going to be dealing with that magic side in the same way that Odyssey was dealing with the mystery side.
So obviously, Dark is dealing with, okay, magic's changed.
Yep.
I wonder if Odyssey is, okay, what else came through the source wall? And they're like, patrolling and going, okay, well, this came through, let's go deal with that.
Part of the reason
Justice League's keeping everything in check.
Yeah, part of the reason why I'm wondering if these planets getting released are a big part of Odyssey is because now that we know that Starfire's planet's one of them, I feel like it makes sense that she's on that team, that she wants to be involved in dealing with this.
It does, yeah.
It's very interesting that they threw that in there.
Oh.
And somewhere since that, Brainiac took it.
Exactly.
And yeah, for the record, I dig the story, and we should probably mention the Vril Dox. He's like, yeah, Brainiac's whole thing was to conquer this planet. As soon as he had you save it for him, he was going to conquer it and just send all the Titans to Earth.
Yeah. Anyways.
So before, and they've got him tied up. In fact, Lobo's literally dragging him with a chain at one point. Yeah. So they've still got him locked up with them, but we'll see how that maps out. So obviously everyone's racing back to Earth. I still enjoyed the story of the issue. It's just the art was a bit
real rough.
Bit on the rough side. Yeah. Now I don't think you should always do this, but I think in cases like this, I would accept a separate art rating from.
Oh no, that's bollocks. It's one product.
Oh, I'm just saying.
No, that is absolute bollocks. It's one product, it's one issue.
No, you give an overall rating, but I'm saying if you want to break it down and say what you think the art is and how it drags it down, you're welcome to do so. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying you're welcome to do so.
So like for me, I was really high on the last one, right? I think I gave it an 8.5 or 9. This is a 7 because I really enjoyed the story, but the art knocks it down because it's inconsistent. If it was all toe, it would just be a step below the last one, but this.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with the 7, Matt. I agree with that. The art drags it down to the 7.
Stop.
But
lining up with
what I'm saying is, though, story alone, it would probably be like an 8.5.
No. But what I'm saying is, this is a bollocks thing. You can't go, that film is a 6, but the cinematography, that's a 9.
Anyway.
I give it a 6, this issue.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I think the art's like a 5, and that like drags it down. I was just going to say, right? Just for conversation's sake. These aren't official numbers. My score's a 7, right? Connor, you happy? Score's a 7.